The first human I ever saw charge towards certain death with a smile on his bloodied face. It made no sense. It still doesn't. But that moment was when I began to understand why the stars whisper warnings about them. I am Valer Tesh, strategic observer of the Concordance, assigned to the Outer Spiral Wars. My species values calculation above all else. We do not glorify violence. We do not celebrate sacrifice. War to us is an equation: minimize loss, maximize outcome. Humans ruin that equation. The battlefield was the ash plains of Karen 9, a dead mining world orbiting a red dwarf that stained the sky like an open wound. Our allied forces, 3 civilizations bound by treaty, had dug in behind shield lines and artillery emplacements. Across the plains waited the devouring swarm, a biomechanical tide that had erased entire systems without mercy. We had predicted a stalemate, possibly a strategic withdrawal. Then the humans arrived. Their dropships screamed through the atmosphere like falling meteors, hulls burning, alarms howling. Any rational species would have delayed deployment until orbital superiority was secured. The humans did not. They hit the ground running. I remember my translators struggling to keep up with their battle chatter. Chaotic, emotional, full of laughter and profanity, even as enemy fire tore into their ranks. And then I saw him, Captain Elias Rowe, helmet cracked, shoulder bleeding, banner of his unit stitched into scorched armor. He looked at the swarm, and he laughed. What I saw next, I remember thinking, changed everything. Rowe raised his rifle and shouted something ancient and human, something my translator rendered poorly, for those who can't run anymore. Then he charged. Behind him, hundreds followed. It should have been suicide. By all projections, their assault violated every known tactical doctrine. They advanced into overlapping kill zones, shields flaring, bodies falling. Our commanders screamed in protest across the tactical net, but the humans kept going. And the swarm hesitated. That was the first anomaly. The swarm had never hesitated before. But that was only the beginning. As the battle unfolded, I watched human squads throw themselves into breaches to hold them with their own bodies. I saw medics drag the wounded forward instead of back, because retreat was slower than advance. I witnessed a young soldier detonate her power core to collapse a swarm spire, screaming an apology to her squad as she did it. Our species would call that madness. The humans called it duty. Every 2 minutes, another human transmission ended in static. Another life extinguished. And yet their morale did not collapse. It intensified. With each loss, they pushed harder, faster, as if grief itself were fuel. I asked Captain Rowe why. Between firefights, while taking cover behind a ruined crawler, he answered me without hesitation. Because if we stop, he said, breathing hard, eyes blazing, they keep going, and someone else dies instead. No equation accounted for that, but none of us were prepared for the truth. Midway through the battle, the swarm adapted. Their bioconstruct shifted frequency, piercing human shields. Casualties spiked. Even Rowe's voice began to fracture with strain. Our commanders issued the order. Full withdrawal. The Concordance would abandon Karen 9 and seal the system. I relayed the order to the human command channel. Silence followed. Then Captain Rowe responded. Negative, he said calmly. We're not leaving. I reminded him that the swarm would overrun the planet within hours. Rowe looked up at the burning sky. I know, he said. That's why we're staying. That was the turning point. The moment that made me think, this is not what I expected. He explained it quickly because time was dying fast. The humans had discovered something buried beneath Karen. 9 during their initial scans. A swarm genesis node. A core intelligence. Ancient and vulnerable. Coordinating an invasion across 12 systems. Destroy it, and the swarm would collapse. But the node was deep. Past zones already infested. No extraction possible. It was a one-way mission. Our commanders refused instantly. No species sacrifices an entire army knowingly. Even victory has limits. Rowe didn't argue. He simply cut the channel. And then the humans advanced again. What I felt then was fear, not of the swarm, of them. The humans fought with a ferocity that felt personal, as if the universe itself had wronged them And this was their reply. They sang as they marched, old songs about home, about loss, about holding the line. The swarm screamed back, its biomachines emitting psychic pulses that shattered weaker minds. The humans screamed louder. I followed Roe and his remaining battalion into the depths of the planet. Tunnels pulsed with alien flesh. Gravity warped. The air tasted like metal and decay. One by one, humans fell. Each time, the others closed ranks. At the Genesis node chamber, only Roe remained standing. He was barely human by then. Armor shattered. One eye gone. Internal monitors screaming fatal warnings. The node loomed before us, a living star of flesh and thought, radiating terror and hunger. Roe planted the charge. I told him he could still leave, that the Concordance would remember him, that his species would honor his sacrifice. He smiled again, the same smile from the ash plains. Tell them, he said softly, we were never trying to be remembered. The explosion tore reality apart. I survived only because he pushed me through the exit tunnel moments before detonation. When the planet cracked and the swarm went silent across the sector, the war ended in a single breath. The Concordance celebrated. I did not, because I finally understood. Humans are not feared because they are strong, or numerous, or technologically superior. They are feared because when faced with extinction, they do not ask if they should fight. They ask who they're fighting for. I returned to my people changed. The equations no longer worked. Every projection involving humans ended the same way. Unpredictable, catastrophic, victorious. Now, when young strategists ask me why the cosmos fears humanity, I tell them about Captain Elias Rowe, about the man who charged into hell smiling, about the species that turns love into a weapon, and I end with the truth that still keeps me awake beneath alien stars. The universe isn't afraid of humanity's power. It's afraid of what they're willing to lose, and still keep moving forward.